Hey everyone. We will see how many people come on this time of day. I always like to do things differently. And one of the things I like to do is just do something when I feel the time is right. And what we're going to do today is look at the 10-question challenge for various movements that you might ask for me to cover in the 10-question challenge. So I've got the Hi everyone, there's quite a few people coming on now. Um, as I said earlier, I like to surprise myself and just do things randomly. And what I'm going to do, hi Shelly, I'm going to do the 10-question challenge live now and go through all the various movements or organizations that you want covered. So, hi there, Mohegan. And yes, so any of the movements or organizations out there you want covered with regards to the 10-question challenge, I'm going to do that now and get it over and done with. I didn't feel like making a whole host of independent videos, especially if you're not interested in those specific parties or organizations. So, hi, Doreen, Brogan, Shelley, Edrich, hi. So yes, we need the algorithms to go on this one. It's going to be the 10-question challenge live. So you can ask me whoever you want me to cover in the 10 questions. See if they make the entry criteria. If I don't have answers to the questions, then you can try and help me if you want. So I want this to be fun. This doesn't have to carry on for too long. Those movements that I haven't covered at this stage, I have only covered officially the ACDP as well as OWM, the Organic Humanity Movement. And many people have sent out requests for other people to join. They haven't come to me and said that they will actually do it. Hi, Barent. Yes, it's going fine with the family. Lauren is out of the community meeting at the moment. So I have the kids with me. They're all having fun. Maybe the boys are making some movies. The girls did a flower decoration earlier out of their own. Um, so yeah, they always keep themselves busy. So yes, welcome. We have about 40 people now, so we can get started. I opened a list of all the political parties represented in Parliament, and I mean, when you actually in Wikipedia, if you go through there, all of these political organizations are boxed under the main ideologies, and I absolutely loathe that. I hate it because to go and box a person is really terrible, and that is why I can't be boxed, and people will never be able to box me. It makes things very difficult because people always want to say, but I don't agree with this or that because of a box that's been applied to you. And so I can't be boxed. People get very confused with the way I think, and that's fine. The world is a very confused place at the moment, and maybe it's best that people reorganize how they think about the world. And this is why I'm really looking forward to launch one of the first videos in the Ground Zero on the Ground Zero YouTube channel this weekend, and you can look forward to that. Yes, we want to try and get people to think differently, just a critical mass of critical thinkers. So people that critically think about things. A lot of people think this is a bad thing, think it's bad that people are critical, especially people that believe in greater good ideology. They believe you should just follow whoever is claimed to be most intelligent. And I absolutely spit on that idea. I feel nothing for it. Those people are absolute idiots. I don't want to spend any time with them, or I want nothing to do with them. The Cape has always been revolutionary in our DNA. Well, the one thing I know about Cape Town is the first area and even province, the Western Cape, that changed the leadership structure within the province. It went from African National Congress to Democratic Alliance, so it can change again. There's definitely a critical mass of people in Cape Town that if you mess with them, they will throw you out. And that has been proven in the past, and it will be proven again in future. It's just we need to do this countrywide. Hi, Barbara, Lee, T. Christie. I know this is a weird time of day, so I don't expect a lot of people to get on here. So we need to get cracking. I've already covered the African National Congress, the Democratic Alliance, and the Economic Freedom Fighters. The African National Congress scored 2 out of 10. The DA scored 4 out of 10. The EFF scored 1 out of 10, which is absolutely shocking. So the IFP is next in line. So let's open the questions and look at the Inkatha Freedom Party, and then see where they are currently, and you might actually be quite surprised. So how do you think the Inkatha Freedom Party is going to do? I actually have no idea. Any thoughts? Any thoughts, ideas on how the Inkatha Freedom Party will do? I can tell you that from information I've received on the ground, there's been a lot of change. The United Nations has had a huge impact on the Inkatha Freedom Party. And the Inkatha Freedom Party is like the government for the Zulu nation, and I believe they've sold them to the highest bidder, and it's really, really sad. So that is a broad picture. I know that people are intimidated on the ground; they are threatened. It's not easy to come into certain areas, Inkatha strongholds, and actually try to promote your idea or thought, because they will behave like a gang and literally kill people and do many other bad things. So you'll be intimidated, etc. This is unfortunately part of the party gang system that has been created by Britain, and this is why we need to remove that system as fast as possible. So let's look at the questions with regards to Inkatha Freedom Party. If you tell me you're not interested, then just let me know and we can just skip, because I don't think they will pass the entry criteria. Do you believe in collective good ideology or in individual liberty? This is the entry criteria for the test. And I believe Inkatha Freedom Party has failed this dismally. They have asked in Parliament for stronger measures to be had against people that don't want to get vaccinated, which means plain and clearly that they support greater good ideology. They don't support individual liberty at all. And therefore, Inkatha doesn't even meet the entry criteria for the freedom test and should be avoided at all costs when it comes to your freedom in future, because they will listen to globalist masters and they will implement those globalist ideas, and your freedom will be none the better for it. And they are certainly pro-constitution, so they fail the first question. Does their plan strive towards irrelevance? Absolutely not. They fail the second question. Do you align with Agenda 2030 and Agenda 21? They absolutely do. They fail the third question. Are you exclusive? Well, that can be debated. I believe that they will believe that they are fully inclusive. So I'm going to give them 1 for that. But I suppose many people will debate that. Do you believe in sovereignty? They do believe in sovereignty. So that is the second one. But the thing is, it's no point you believe in sovereignty and you believe in greater good ideology. I mean, it's an oxymoron. So they certainly need a lot of education with regards to that. So I'm going to give them 2 so far. Do you have a savior figure? Certainly not. So they will definitely get a point for the question number 6. So they have 3 out of 10 so far. What is your position on CSE? They were openly, well, the Zulu king was against CSE, but Inkatha, I don't know what their position was, so I'm actually not that sure. And I know that there's people in Inkatha that have supported CSE and those that have been against. I haven't heard their leadership position on CSE, so I'm undecided on that one. So they're 3 out of 10 so far. I can't give that one to them at this stage. Do you mention color or race vocally and in organizational documents? They fail that one too, unfortunately, and I wish they would change with regards to that. So they still have 3 out of 10. And do you make outlandish statements? I don't think so. I've never heard them make any outlandish statements that are ridiculous. So there I have to score them 4 out of 10. Do you make promises? I've never seen the IFP as a party or movement that make promises. So based on that, I would have to score them either 5 or 6, depending on the CSE debate. they would get a 5 or a 6 out of 10. So the Inkatha Freedom Party looks like as we're going down the list, we are becoming more free, which is interesting, which tells you that the top three parties are being funded by the people that want to remove our freedom. That's what it tells me. So 5 to 6 out of 10 for the Inkatha Freedom Party. Any comments on that? So I really hope that you're enjoying the way that we're doing this. So I'm going to put it here. Inkatha Freedom Party. They are 5 to 6 out of 10. Okay, I'll put it here in the chat so people can see it when they watch this later. And Mohigan says, no man or woman is worth bowing to. We are all equal. No kingdoms here. Yeah, remember the Inkatha Freedom Party are part of the, they were literally like the British Parliament for the Zulu people, which is part of the Ingonyama Trust. It's actually a very complicated situation because they didn't want to be under globalist control. But it was very easy within the party system to start controlling Inkatha, and that is a sad reality. When the Zulu king was completely independent and wanted to remain independent because he saw the flaws in the constitution and therefore didn't want to agree to the constitution, and then literally separated financially and territory wise from the South African nation. And this always creates problems later on, and it's always used by the globalists as a way to divide. So we need everyone to work together in the future in this country, and we don't want any separation or division. It certainly doesn't help us at all. Okay, so next, let's go to the next one. Okay, next we have the Freedom Front Plus. So I did contact the Freedom Front Plus Cape Town representative, and they said that I need to contact them when Dr. Pieter Groenewald was back at home. He was away at the time. And I then told people to contact whoever they want, and they can contact me. I will contact them back if they agree to an interview and then do it. So I haven't had any contact from the Freedom Front Plus. So I will just go through the test. I'm sure that many of you will be interested because the Freedom Front Plus in the last elections got a lot of extra votes. It went straight across from the DA to the Freedom Front Plus. Many people went across to the ACDP as well. So let's look at the Freedom Front Plus. And this is interesting because their name says they are a Freedom Front, okay? So they shouldn't be involved in party politics. They're not called a party. They are a Freedom Front. Now, what does that actually mean? I would have loved to interview someone from the Freedom Front Plus and ask them these questions directly. Because they would be better qualified to do it, and I don't want to guess. And many people on this channel are going to be voting for the Freedom Front Plus. Many people are going to be voting for the ACDP. The ACDP interview I've already done. They scored very high, 9 out of 10 with regards to freedom. I still have my concerns if there are radical people within an organization such as that would want to impose Christianity on people from other religions. I have a huge problem with that. So Wayne, the person I interviewed, is certainly not like that. He made it clear to me that he believes that other people should organize and worship how they want. And that's what I want to hear. I've certainly heard other people in his organization say the complete opposite. So that is a concern because they allow elections internally. And because of that, the top structure of the organization can actually be captured. And so strategically, the way it's formed or put together is weak. And that's certainly something they need to consider and worry about. Okay, so entry criteria. Do you believe in collective good ideology or individual liberty? I believe the Freedom Front Plus believes in individual liberty. I don't believe that all of their members and even the elected members in councils and in provincial parliament and national parliament understands what collective good ideology means, and often might be supporting collective good things without them knowing. So they will tell you that they are for individual liberty in general. But I have to literally question through the actions. and when we get to the questions, you'll see that coming up. Okay. But at this stage, I would say officially that they pass entry criteria for the test. So, question number 1: are you pro current constitution? Do you believe in system change or going towards direct elections? And this is a good question because they often are very guarded with their stances on many things. I think that currently they believe in the constitution. I haven't heard them speak once about changing the constitution. So I have to believe that they are happy with the current party system. And I haven't heard them speaking about changing the party system overall. They have spoken about supporting secession in Cape Town, which is a very different thing. And we know in the past they were looking for, or the four runners were looking for a Boer Volksstaat, which is a separatist thing, and we'll get to that later on. So they fail the first question: are you pro-constitution? It would be better to clarify to what context, if a Freedom Front Plus person was actually present to answer that. Does your plan strive towards irrelevance? I do believe that the Freedom Front Plus believes in a future where people become self-reliant, where they look after themselves, and that type of plan would inevitably end up making them more irrelevant. I don't think they want to grab power or anything like that. So I don't believe they are power hungry, and therefore I will pass the Freedom Front Plus on this question. And say that they are striving towards irrelevance. I see humility in many of their people, and that to me is important. So they definitely pass question number 2. Do you align with Agenda 2030 Sustainable Development Goals or Agenda 21? And I see this as a population control agenda, and I think the Freedom Front Plus needs to seriously look at their alignment with us. I know that they agreed with our development plan, and all the parties in Parliament did. And this is a weakness. So either they misunderstand what is actually happening, or how the United Nations is capturing us in future, and therefore they can lead us down the garden path. So they definitely failed question number 3. So at this stage, they have 1 out of 10. Are you exclusive? The Freedom Front Plus currently is definitely inclusive. Although many people will see them as not being inclusive, they are happy to include anyone from any background. So I would definitely have to say that they are inclusive with regards to who can belong to the party, or to the front, as they call themselves, Freedom Front. So at this stage, they have 2 out of 10. Do you believe in sovereignty? Absolutely. They strongly believe in sovereignty. So they definitely pass that question. So they have 3 out of 10 at this stage. Do you have a savior figure? Absolutely not. Their figures are very humble in general, and they believe in the power of the people. So they score 4 out of 10. What is your opinion on CSE? This is something where I would have wanted them to speak out strongly, and they haven't. And the silence is deafening. So I actually don't know their position on comprehensive sexuality education. It's a big worry for me that they haven't spoken out against it. I would have expected them to. They haven't, so I don't know. I might be wrong. So please, someone in the Freedom Front Plus, if there's any official statement against CSE, I would like to see that, because I can't make a call on this at this stage. So at this stage, we have strive towards irrelevance. 1, are you exclusive? There they have another point. There's 2 points. Believe in sovereignty. 3 points. 4 points with the savior figure. With CSE, I can't give it to them because I haven't seen that. If anyone in the comments can tell me if they have made a statement on CSE, that's quite important. Hi, Jonathan. Wow, we have about 80 people. Do any of you know if the Freedom Front Plus has made any statement against CSE? Because I haven't seen it. And obviously, Lauren, my wife, started hashtag Leave Our Kids Alone. The Freedom Front Plus people that supported Leave Our Kids Alone, of which there were many, almost all of them, begged the leaders to make statements. Nothing was forthcoming, not from the Freedom Front Plus, not from Solidarity, not from AfriForum. None of them made statements against CSE. Even those members approached the Dutch Reformed Church Synod. They then went and made a public statement to say they support CSE. So did their wing, which looks after abused children and so on, Badisa. They made a statement to say that they support CSE, and this was hugely problematic. So have any one of you seen the Freedom Front Plus make a statement against comprehensive sexuality education? Because yes, silence means they agree. You're absolutely right. So I can't give them that one. They're failing that question until they prove otherwise. So I'm not going to give them that one. So at the moment, they have 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 10. Do you mention color or race vocally and or in organizational documents? They absolutely do. So they fail that question completely. And I would encourage them to stop. So at the moment, they're sitting with 4 out of 10. They're not doing as well as I thought they would. Do you make outlandish statements? I don't think they make outlandish statements at all. I also don't think they make promises. So because the people in the Freedom Front Plus generally are very humble people, religious people, I would say. So the last two, I believe they definitely pass. If they could pass the CSE one, if they could make a statement against CSE, I can give them 7 out of 10. But at this stage, they have a 6 out of 10 until they make that statement. And I will make a video specifically. And if anyone from the Freedom Front Plus want to contact me and do the 10-question challenge directly and correct me, I would love for them to do that. I can only go on what I have at the moment. Okay. So they score a 6 out of 10. It's still a lot better than the DA. Okay. Okay. Freedom Front Plus. There you go. 6 out of 10. If we can correct that, there's an article in the Citizen about it. There's a lot of articles on CSE lately because that fight is starting up again, and Lauren has gone into overdrive to fight that. Lauren's fighting on so many fronts. The leave our guns alone, the leave our kids alone. There will be leave our religion alone. There will be all sorts of leave us alone in future. And we just want to live our lives, really. And this is why we need to change the governance system. We need as many organizations or movements or parties to join us in this fight. And this is why I'm doing this. Otherwise, I wouldn't waste my time. I believe there's so many good people out there in so many different organizations, and we need to align ourselves against this global enemy that's removing our freedom. Okay. Cape Coloured Congress. I would love to interview someone from the Cape Coloured Congress. But no one has contacted me or approached me. Lauren is in fact in that meeting. The Cape Coloured Congress is there. And I would love to interview someone from the Cape Coloured Congress and speak to them. I don't know where they stand on many things, so I can't put them into the interview. If someone isn't live with me, I won't be able to question them because I don't know enough. So that won't be free. Off topic to the few people who are worried about Islam in the country, realize that Islam basically arrived here with Christianity. We are South African. Absolutely, Mohegan. Some of the strongest supporters of freedom that I know are people that are from the Islamic faith. And, if you actually look at some of the biggest freedom fighters, people fighting for freedom in the country to want to separate from globalist control, are Muslims and Christians. So fighting together, side by side. Within the organic humanity movement, there are many Muslims, Muslim clerics that are members that have gone for the training, that are fighting with us in the trenches. And that is what we need right now. Cape Coloured Congress, Mohegan, do you know their stances on some of these questions? Because I'm happy for you to give us input on that as we go through the questions. I would really like that. But let's crack through the the other parties on the list. So the ACDP is next. We've already done the ACDP. They scored really high. Yeah, Kenneth Mishu, they're very outspoken against the mandates. They're very outspoken against CSE, and they've actually taken action. They're very outspoken against the fact that people can't defend themselves. And so, yes, all of those things they have openly fought for, made public statements. It makes it easy for people to know where you stand. And that is important. With the organic humanity movement, the OM has principles and values that underline what they stand for. So a lot of people will ask, but what is your position on abortion? And I say, go and look at the principles. Okay? Liberty first, then protection of life, then care for the earth. So that's why OM doesn't have policies. Many other political parties or movements or organizations actually have policies. Now, what I believe is that in the future system that we create, where we directly elect our leaders, those people should have certain policies. And then you vote for the person who's going to put forward the policies that you believe in. And then whatever you believe with regards to abortion or gun rights or capital punishment or whatever will be played out in the political landscape. So it shouldn't be bound to an organization. In a direct election system, you're going to get a much better representation on how the people feel on things. Okay? Just understand the brilliance of the direct election plan that Lauren came up with in 2017. And many other people will say that they believe in direct elections, Mashaba, Musi, and many others, when they aren't putting a plan in place to actually bring it into being, because they're not speaking about constitutional change. In fact, they say the constitution should remain as is. So I don't understand how on earth we're going to get to the end result if they don't want to change the constitution. It makes no sense. So they need to rethink their strategies. Okay, let's go to the UDM, Bantu Holomisa, ATM, Good. All of those parties don't pass the entry criteria because they all believe in collective good ideology. I know that Good believes in collective good ideology. I know Brett Heron, Patricia, all of them believe in collective good ideology. ATM, the Christian democracy, conservatism. Even although they say they are conservative, they have said many things that are greater good ideology. Same with Bantu Holomisa. This is problematic. I don't have enough. Well, many of the others too. COPE. There's so many people in COPE that believe in greater good ideology. They're not outspoken enough. The PAC believes in greater good ideology. So, I mean, these people don't even meet entry criteria, most of them. Herman Mashaba. Yeah, Herman, what I think needs to happen with Herman is he needs to drop the whole party thing he's got going, and under the direct election system, when OM brings that into being, because no one else is flipping doing that except the organic humanity movement, bringing a new system into place. The rest are happy to carry on the way they are, and they just want themselves elected, and then they say that they're going to make things better. So that's a huge flaw in their tactics, but that has nothing to do with freedom. That has got to do with the system. So OM wants to create system change. Then you can elect someone like Herman Mashaba as the president of the country. He can run for the presidential position, and people can elect him. Now, I would have to speak to Herman myself to understand where he stands on many things, because his office contacted me very early on when Double O Day started, and I didn't do interviews at that time with any person. So I would love to interview him, put him through the 10-question challenge, and see where he stands as a person. Because the people in Action SA believe so many different things that it's difficult to pinpoint where they would stand on freedom. Just remember, you can go and you can have a whole lot of independents in positions, and they can all believe opposite things. So you have to separate a belief in freedom, the 10-question challenge, and the system you use to directly elect your leaders. It's two separate things. You cannot make it the same. It's not the same thing. Jacques is speaking truth. Like I've mentioned before, vote for independent candidates that you have put through the 10-question challenge. There's no point putting an independent candidate there that doesn't believe in individual liberty. What's the point of voting for a person like that? They're just as bad as any of those parties that believe in collective good ideology. So there's absolutely no point in doing that. So which other movement do you want me to cover? I know many people have asked me to cover UIM. And the UIM is difficult to cover for one simple reason. You're sitting with a leader in the UIM, and then you're sitting with a whole lot of individuals. The leader of the UIM believes in greater good ideology. He doesn't even pass the entry criteria for the test. Okay? So let's look at Neil de Beer as an individual. Does he believe in greater good ideology? Yes. So he doesn't pass the entry criteria for the test. He might promise you heaven and earth, but he's going to take your freedoms away to achieve it. He's going to put cameras everywhere. He's going to do everything this new world order wants to create. And he says very openly the new world order does not exist. Okay? He says it clearly. I have so many telephone clips of him. It's not even funny that people have sent to me for over a long period of time. I've completely lost focus of what he's doing. I have no idea what he's doing because I've never focused on him. Except initially when he declared himself the next president of South Africa, which I thought was really a mental twerk that happened, because no person can do that. So let's go down this list with regards to Neil de Beer. I cannot speak for UIM candidates. So he fails the entry criteria. Are you pro-current constitution? Absolutely he is. He fails the first question. Does your plan strides towards irrelevance? The absolute opposite. He wants power. So he fails the second question. Do you align with Agenda 2030 or Agenda 21? He drives those agendas. He fails the third question. Are you exclusive? No, that's the only question. That's the only one that he would pass. But he made comments where he said, if the white people, we will just focus on the rest. So his own personal comments would make him fail number 4. Maybe not the UIM, but he is the UIM. Do you believe in sovereignty? That's an interesting one, seeing that he's sitting on the World Economic Forum, etc. He's a globalist, so he fails question number 5. Do you have a savior figure? He is the savior figure. He tells everyone, vote for me and I will sort out all these things for you. He hasn't passed a single question so far. What is your position on CSE? He absolutely supports it. He fails question number 7. Do you mention color or race vocally? All the time. So he fails number 8. Do you make outlandish statements continuously? So, like, I am the next president. It's outlandish. He cannot verify or substantiate that because he's not going to be the next president. So he fails number 9. Do you make promises? He builds his entire campaign on promises. So Neil de Beer of UIM scores 0 out of 10. 0. Okay. So I'll put here UIM president 0 out of 10. And people can be upset with me over that, but that is a fact. Yes, he claims to be the head of the African Bank. So 0 out of 10. If you want to vote for the UIM or what they stand for, understand what the president is putting out there. I don't know about the candidates. I've heard that there's really awesome candidates. I don't think they know what they're involved in, to be honest. If any of the UIM candidates are watching, please ask Neil de Beer those 10 questions and see what he says. Go and look at his videos, and I think you're being misguided. And I believe there's many good people trying to change the country within the UIM movement, and I believe you're misguided. I'm sorry. So anyone else that you want me to cover? I just needed to get that off my back. Yeah, he scores 0. I mean, he is the epitome of the new world order being created, and that is why he will attack me and say that I'm talking KAK and whatnot. He uses strong swear words, although he proclaims Christianity with regards to the things I say, that the new world order doesn't exist. It's rubbish. And I have the telephone recordings. I will keep it with me forever. If anyone wants to hear them, I'll play them to you. Yeah, I won't put it in the public domain. 0 out of 10, a lot better than you expected. How do you? Yeah. So who are we going to cover next? I don't want to do Herman Mashaba the service and cover Action SA. You know, okay, Cape Party. That okay, Cape Party is difficult to do. You would see in a poll that I put out, I included them because yeah. Well, as we go through the 10 questions, it's going to be interesting. Because remember, this is about freedom. And this is where it's going to become very interesting. Do you believe in collective good ideology or in individual liberty? Now, if you look at the triangle, okay, for secession, I said the triangle that has to be there. You must have full support of everyone in the country for what you are doing. The next thing you need is energy independence. The next thing you need is a proper governance system that makes the people free. And if you look at the last one, which to me is the most important, they certainly don't have the first two covered. Okay, so they don't even have hope in hell. But do you believe in collective good ideology? If you look at what they want to implement, it's absolutely New World Order collective good ideology, 100%. And many people, there's many people in the Cape Exit or the secession movement that have different ideas, okay, and they argue with each other terribly. So I can't speak about all of them. I can only speak about the Cape Independence Party. So they want to implement the Swiss canton system. It's 100% New World Order. It's 100% in line with the Bavarian Illuminati doctrine of collective good ideology. So they won't make the entry criteria for the test. Are you pro current constitution? Well, they don't care about the current constitution. They will actually write a new one. So they would pass the first question. The question is, what will they create in future? And I would first have to look at that and judge that based on that. Okay, but they pass the first question. Does your plan strive towards irrelevance? Absolutely not. Their plan strives towards absolute relevance. And that new government that will be formed will be fully in control of everyone. So that is a huge problem. So they get nothing for that one. Do you align with Agenda 2030's SDGs or Agenda 21? Now, they might not openly say that they align with it, but this is what they're implementing. They are implementing those agendas. So they fail question number 2. Are you exclusive? While they claim to be fully inclusive, based on people I've spoken to, I don't believe it at all, but I have to go by their official stance. So I have to give them a pass on question number 4. So that's 2 out of 10 so far. But I've spoken to so many people in the Cape Party that are the most extreme racists that I've ever heard of in my life. I mean, extreme racists that are preparing for war against other groups in South Africa. Do you believe in sovereignty? They will absolutely say that they believe in sovereignty. However, when you put a new state in place, okay, and you then allow international organizations to dictate to you as to how to run that government, you're not sovereign. The irony is incredible, and it's very, very powerful how people can be subversive with regards to this. Okay. But because they say that they believe in sovereignty, I have to give them that now. But that is why I will tell you to be very careful what that means, what their idea of sovereignty means. So I'll give them that one. So they've got 3 out of 10. Do you have a savior figure? Absolutely not. So they're 4 out of 10. What is your position on CSE? I believe they have a problem with that. I've seen many Cape Party people have a problem with CSE and go against it. So I haven't heard an official position, but I'll give them that one too. So they're 5 out of 10 at this stage. Let me just make sure I haven't got 5 out of 10. Do you mention color or race vocally? They absolutely do. So they fail that one. So still 5 out of 10. Do you make outlandish statements? The Cape Party, it's a difficult one. I think they have made some statements that I thought as outlandish, but I have to think of Jack Miller specifically. I don't think he's made outlandish statements. I think that he wants the concept to be proven by numbers and referendum and so on. That's certainly not outlandish. So I have to give them a 6 out of 10 there. Do you make promises? That's a difficult one for me to answer at this stage. I haven't heard any specific promises made. I think everything they're doing is based on gaining support on the ground for an idea or a concept. So I don't think they're promising people heaven and earth. They are just saying what they will do in future. So that's a 7 out of 10. That's quite a high score. And that's only happened because I know many Cape Party people have spoken out against CSE and in the fight against CSE. So that's a 7 out of 10 for the Cape Party. So they are definitely one of the high scorers. But I'm very concerned by what they will implement if they have separated. Remember, this is a freedom quiz. This is not a quiz on what you want to do in government structure or anything like that. Okay, so CIP, 7 out of 10. This is not Cape Exit. This is the Cape Independence Party. Okay. Spectrum National Party absolutely would not pass the entry criteria for this test. Because I've listened to the president of the Spectrum National Party. He's not far off Neil de Beer, actually. Unfortunately, they won't do very well at all. So, Spectrum National Party, do you believe in collective good ideology? The president speaks collective good all the time. So they won't pass the entry criteria. Are you pro current constitution? Absolutely. They fail. Does your plan strive towards relevance? No, they fail. Do you align with Agenda 2030 and Agenda 21? I'm not exactly sure about their stance on that. Are you exclusive? No, I believe that they are fully inclusive. But later, when we get to mentioning color, they do that all the time. So at this stage, pro current constitution, they fail that one. Does your plan strive towards irrelevance? They fail that one. Do you align with Agenda 2030? They haven't spoken out openly against it, so they fail that one. Are you exclusive? They claim to be fully inclusive, so they got 1 out of 10. Do you believe in sovereignty? They do believe in sovereignty based on what I've heard, but I don't think they understand the concept. There's not a lot of brain cells behind this. And I know I'm being very brutal now, so I'll give them 4 out of 10 there. Do you have a savior figure? Absolutely. So their leader also, he has grandeur of delusion and makes heavy promises. So yeah, so at this stage, they only have pro current constitution. They fail that. Does your plan? They only are you exclusive. They only have 1 so far. 2. Sorry, they have 2. What is your position on CSE? I have no idea what their position is on CSE. They will probably think that they can do it better than that. I don't want any of that nonsense in school at all. It takes parental freedom away. Do you mention race, color vocally all the time? So he fails that one. So CSE, I don't know what their position is on CSE. If I can find that out, that would help me. Do you make outlandish statements? Absolutely. He makes outlandish statements all the time. Do you make promises? Absolutely. So you're sitting with 2 or 3 out of 10. If he's against CSE, he would get 3 out of 10. Yeah. So yeah, that is them. Yeah, on honest roasting. So Spectrum National Party, it's going to be 2 to 3 out of 10. I don't know what the position is on CSE, so it depends on that. It's not as bad as Neil de Beer, okay? They did a bit better, but no better than the ANC or the EFF or the DA. And that's unfortunate, you know. You can go and campaign on promising the whole world and how you're going to do things better in the current system. How does that help? No, man. It doesn't help listening to a person saying that we want to do this and all this is wrong with the DA and all this is wrong with the ANC, and you want to use the same system to achieve success. You're not going to. Dr. Zane Hendricks, absolutely, most people do not want freedom because freedom involves responsibility, and most people are frightened of responsibility. The great forces rule the world. stupidity, fear, and greed. But we can change that, Dr. Zane Hendricks. We can start working on the ground on making people aware of this issue, and then gathering the people. And we are doing this already in the Freedom SA events. The Organic Humanity Movement is gathering people. The Freedom SA events are gathering people that want to take responsibility for their own lives. And the moment you grow that critical mass and you make it grow and grow and grow, as is happening right now, people start falling in with it because it becomes a very attractive offering if you want to be free. And this is why we are having success, and the success won't stop. So it's really sad, I believe the leader of the Spectrum National Party, I would love to meet with him. I think he really wants to help the country and he's doing it completely wrong. That's the only thing. And hopefully one day he can fall in line with us and help us on the road to success. I don't think he's a bad person at heart at all. Let me just make that clear. Okay. So he needs some education and understanding, and that is fine. At least he's trying to do something. Okay. The beauty of someone trying something means that they can come up for criticism like this. And then they can improve themselves if they want to. And I believe someone like the president of the Spectrum National Party will listen to people. And maybe he will change the way he does things. Okay, next. Who are we going to do next? Like I said, if we do the Cape Coloured Congress, I don't have enough knowledge. I don't want to do something on someone and I don't have sufficient knowledge of what they want to do. I would want to speak to Fadil myself. Fadil, I know, has spoken about Cape Independence, and he has said, he's not stupid, Fadil. Okay, it's the first thing I have to say. Fadil has spoken separatist politics because of the circumstances a lot of the people that he loves falls under. I have sympathy for how he feels. The method that you have to use to free those people has to be far greater than just normal party politics. If you're not trying to change the whole system and strengthen the country against a global enemy that wants to take our freedom away, you're just going to fall into the same trap. And anyone going into the current system, not wanting to change the system, will fall into the same trap and will get captured once you get that first salary in your pocket and you buy your fancy car and you get that bond on a nice new house. It's tickets for you. You are bought, sealed, signed, and delivered. End of story. And this has happened to so many people that I've seen personally in the Democratic Alliance. The moment that guy gets elected into a position, they change instantly. You're watching in high-speed mode to catch up. So who else can we cover here? I mean, the rest of the parties, I would have liked to speak to someone from Al Jamaa, Ghanif Hendricks. I would have loved to speak to Ghanif. I'm sure Al Jamaa should do fairly well on the freedom test. I would expect Al Jamaa to do well on the freedom test. But once again, the problem I have, just like with the ACDP, is that it's specific to or biased towards a religious belief. And I don't think that belongs in government at all. I think we need to make sure that whoever we support allows everyone their freedom of belief and supports all religions, cultures, creeds, whatever you want out there. You need to help all of those people to be free. And the moment you want to impose your beliefs on someone else, I cannot stand with you, because then it means I will also lose my freedom in future. People, anyone else that we can cover at this stage? So we've covered the Spectrum National Party. We've covered the Cape Independence Party. They scored fairly high. They got 7 out of 10. And you will see that the people, well, and so did the Freedom Front Plus, scored 6 out of 10. That's not a fail. That is at least it's something. The UIM, I looked at the president of the UIM. He scored 0 out of 10. The Freedom Front Plus scored 6 out of 10. And this is what I think why when I did a poll for how people would support parties on this channel, the Freedom Front Plus, the ACDP, OM scored high, took up the bulk of the support because they score higher when it comes to freedom. Cape Independence, I was very surprised how low that support was, but I'm very outspoken against the concept, okay, of Cape Independence. We can implement anything to fix the country, across the country. We can absolutely do that. So to separate people, I always say, if things are going to go tits up or pear-shaped or the poppy eats the fan, people will naturally congregate together that believe in the same thing. So you don't have to promote a plan B. Plan B will take care of itself, and eventually will always end up at plan C. And this is just human nature. And who of you have watched Lord of the Fly or read the book Lord of the Fly? Let me ask that quickly. Yes, I'm going to the Dagga party. I'm going to interview today. I'm going to try and get hold of Jeremy today. They sent me an actual response. No, Jacques, Cape Exit isn't a party. The Cape Independence Party is registered as a party. So Cape Exit is a movement with many different groupings with many different ideas. Okay. So Dagga party, I will speak to him. If I can't do the interview with him today, then I will read his response. So he's sent me an email with the responses to the 10 questions. You might find them quite surprising, but it's very important that you hear what he has to say, because he did contact me. So I want to give him an individual slot because he made that effort. So I really want to thank him for that. And I believe now is the right time. People are really trying to now make decisions. And I know many people that will support what the Dagga party is trying to do. But one thing you need to understand, in the system that OM wants to create in future, the Organic Humanity Movement, that Jeremy Acton will be able to implement most of the things that he's trying to do. You're going to have the freedom to do that, and we will be able to elect leaders that we support, whatever their policies might be. And Jeremy could be elected to parliament. You know, people could elect him to parliament to represent what he stands for, which is almost more like a business economy, and that is fine. And people can support that. And I believe they will get a lot of support in the local government elections. I think they probably will score well. But when we go, Lord of the Flies was on a trick set book, brilliant book. Now, Lord of the Flies will show you how people behave when isolated somewhere. And yes, that's why I say plan A is where you try and include everyone. You try and change the current system to one where it works better. You don't throw everything out and then start from scratch, because the moment you do that, you destabilize everything, and then you give the globalists a chance to just walk in and take over. You have to change the system within the system and get it to a point and improve it to a point. Have a plan to where you improve it to a point where people can get little bite chunks instead of having this whole thing shoved in their mouth and they feel uncomfortable because you can't chew properly. Action essay, I would love to speak to Herman Mashaba. Many people have sent him a request for me to interview him. I would love to interview him. I've had no response from them. I will contact them if they agree to an interview and then do that interview. Kenny Kunene's Patriotic Alliance. Once again, it's greater good ideology. Fail the entry criteria. Jeremy Acton. Is Jeremy going to politics? He's been in politics for years. Action essay is difficult to do because the model of action essay doesn't say much with regards to freedom, and that's very worrying because they should be more outspoken on these issues, and they are not. And that to me is worrying. Very worrying, actually. Okay, I just got a message quickly. So good party, absolutely great to good ideology. Lauren worked with Brett Herron and Patricia DeLille and that entire team. She was part of the 2016 campaign. I managed to spend time with them. They absolutely believe in great to good ideology. And okay, so let's do this with regards to good, Jacques. Entry, do you believe in collective good ideology? Good would fail that. So good wouldn't make the entry criteria for greater good ideology. Are you pro current constitution? They absolutely are. So they fail that. Does your plan strive towards irrelevance? Absolutely not. So they fail that. Do you align with the Agenda 2030 SDGs or Agenda 21? They absolutely do. So they fail that. Are you exclusive? No, they are fully inclusive. So they pass that one. Do you believe in sovereignty? Not a freaking chance. Not with a globalist mindset. So they might say that, but you won't hear it from them actually. They hide by not saying we want to be sovereign. They are actually hiding and not proclaiming it because good is a globalist movement. Absolutely. So they fail everything except for are you exclusive? They are fully inclusive. So that is 1 point they scored. Do you have a savior figure? No. So they passed that one. So that's 2. Brett Herron is actually a very awesome, humble person. He really cares and feels for the poor. However, Brett believes in all these globalist policies as well as the United Nations. And that is where we start losing freedom. So there's a big difference between caring for the homeless or people that are vulnerable and then taking all their freedom away. That doesn't fly for me. Okay. They fully support CSE. So at this stage, they have 2 out of 10. Do you mention color or race vocally? It's not something that they actually do. I think they've moved away from that. So if they do, it's not out of habit or because they use race in any way. So yeah, I'm not sure about that one. I might give them that one, which would give them 3. Do you make outlandish statements? I don't think that Auntie Pat, she has made outlandish statements back in the day, but I don't think she does that anymore. I don't think Brett does. So I would have to give them that one too. Do you make promises? Yes, they absolutely do that. So I would have to give good 4 out of 10, which is about in line with the DA, which is what I would have expected, more or less, because it's more of the same. You know, good gets 4 out of 10. For freedom, remember? Marjorie, Ubuntu happens because you have individual freedom. So you still choose to practice Ubuntu. It's not forced on you. Okay. So individual freedom still comes first. Individual liberty. It always should come first. Cape independence is a new world order. It's one of the ways that you can divide a country. You can stuff up the energy, you can screw up the monarchy or the government, and then you can try and rip them to pieces. Those are the Bavarian Illuminati strategies. Very simple. It's not rocket science, people. Okay, so good scores 4 out of 10. So any other movements or parties you want me to go through? Let me see if I've missed anything. Okay, so the Patriotic Alliance, let's see. Are they in Parliament? No, they're not in Parliament. They're not in Parliament at the moment. And Kenny Kunene is a globalist businessman. So, yeah. It's that simple. So anyone else that you want me to cover at this stage? So we've gone through quite a few now. Yeah, I see good as the same as the DA, is the same as the ANC, is the same as the EFF. It's very much of the same. If you say that you're going to do better service delivery, you're going to give the poor housing, you're going to convert golf courses into cheap housing, what has that got to do with freedom? When you say no, everyone must be this and must stay at home and may not go out at this time. Uh, really, who's speaking out against that? I always say all the leaders of the parties currently in parliament stood behind Cyril Ramaphosa when we were locked down, okay, in level 5 lockdown. And that included Kenneth Mesher, the leader of the ACDP. And he should strongly think about why he did that. Okay? You should think about why he did that. It's very convenient to speak out against things later. So one needs to think about how you do things strategically. What I want as an individual is for as many movements, political movements, and organizations to fight for freedom, real freedom, understand what that means, and stop worrying about the potholes. If we are free, we can sort out potholes easily. If we are sovereign, we can sort out potholes easily. If our local municipalities and our local governments have more autonomy to do things, and our tax goes there instead of to a national government that sends it all overseas at the end of the day via corrupt contracts, then we can do everything we want to. We have to change the system. We get back to what OM does, and that is to change the political system, not have policies on anything, values and principles, and you change the system. Once you've changed the system, you can now elect leaders directly, and once you can directly elect leaders, then you have options. We're not there yet. We need to first change the system. That's vital at this stage. I really want to thank you all for watching up until now. We've done quite a few movements and parties. Yes, the parties that said they support Cape Exit and bottom line will be under the United Nations influence. Yes, at the end of the day. There are a few of them. I know the DA has said that they support the referendum. And there's been conflicting statements between Alan Winde, the DA leader John Steenhuisen, Nastasia Mazzoni, and various other people in the DA with regards to that, because they say that they believe in federalism. So it's going to be interesting. That's more in line with Jula or Hein Marx. And I can't believe that Hein Marx would associate with Neil de Beer. He literally took all his intellect and threw it on the floor by doing that. And I don't know why someone with his intellect would do that. A lot of these people are looking at plan Bs. Cape Exit is a plan B. Jula is a plan B. And we need to fight to not get to that point where something like that is not needed. Now, a lot of these people have already given up, and they believe that we must just fight it out in whatever plan B ends up to be. Plan B means war. And this is one thing Fadil Adams understands, because he's actually more intelligent than a lot of these people. Okay, Fadil has a high IQ. He's not an idiot. And he said, people, if you want this Cape independence, you must be able to spill the blood that's going to give it to you. He knows what it's going to cause. He understands fully. He understands. And at the end of the day, another country comes in here with a military, or the UN comes in here with a military, and everything that you aspire to do comes to a screeching halt if you aren't prepared on the ground and you don't have citizens that are prepared for any eventuality. All your plans are pointless. Pointless. It's not rocket science. So, Cape Exit, I know the Freedom Front Plus has said that they support it. The ACDP has said that they support it. There was another one. I'm not sure if the UIM said that they support it, because the UIM to me is Neil de Beer. So I don't know what Neil has said on that. I must tell you one thing. The one thing I appreciate about Neil de Beer is the fact that he's doing something. He's putting his neck out there. He's being ridiculed and all sorts of things. And I respect that about him. And I will sit down with Neil de Beer and have an honest conversation with him and I will tell him how I feel about his plans and the way he's doing things. I'll be very brutal and honest with him. And that I don't agree with his strategy at all. At all. And then what he's going to do is take our freedoms away. But maybe he doesn't care about that. Or maybe he misunderstands things. But he's already been thrown under the bus by the Michael Lewis and all the other cronies involved in causing chaos in our country. And now we have, what's that idiot? Hersoff that's just marched into the country from overseas, coming here to save us and getting people to vote for the DA. And they are throwing a lot of money around to try and bribe people to promote the DA at this stage. And we will see how well this works. Okay. So at the moment, out of the lot, the Organic Humanity Movement scored 10 out of 10. The ACDP scored 9 out of 10. Some people argue that it's 10 out of 10. But this is a freedom test, remember. Then next was it Cape Independence? And then the Freedom Front Plus. But those are very close calls. Yeah. Yeah, I like what you say, Mohegan. We have a Yah-Bas government to the rest of the world. It's embarrassing. Yeah, our people sell their souls to be able to travel abroad. I was actually in a meeting up in Gauteng at someone's home where on the Double O's tour, where this one person said, I'll take the jab, I don't care what poison is in there to travel overseas. And you have a right to feel that way. But then don't impose that on someone else. That is what I say. I don't care. Like I always tell people, if you want to inject yourself with sunlight liquid every day, I would advise you not to, but I believe you have a right to do that. And that's why I believe in liberty first before protection of life. If someone wants to do something to harm themselves, they're going to do it. And I would advise them not to. So what society do we have to create? We need to create a society where we advise people to do certain things that we believe is better for them. You don't dictate to them. You don't make laws to tell people how to live their lives. Obviously, if you're using things like a car and you have to drive this 2-ton vehicle and you are not skilled at it, that there needs to be certain requirements to make sure that you don't end up killing or hurting other people. But then I say, make the driver's test the most difficult part. Because at the moment, people are being fined for traveling at 70 kilometers per hour in a 60 zone. That's a money-making racket. There's so many vehicles that can travel at that speed, brake very quickly. I'm just using one example now, and not hurt someone. If you are trained properly, you're going to drive at the speed that keeps the vehicle safe and the vehicles around you safe, because that's what's necessary. That's not what's happening. Put every South African that wants to drive a car through advanced driving. I have no problem with that. In the nuclear industry where I come from, you need to be extremely competent and pass with more than 80% in everything that you do to be able to then train to then actually do a job. And someone else decides that you are good enough to do that job. So many things in society right now are just a money-making racket for government. They are run like a corporation and they make money like a corporation. And they just swell in size. It's absolute madness that has to stop. Down but not out yet, says Sunlight Liquid. That sounds like natural selection more than liberty. Well, yeah. Jay's fluid. I can mention many things. I know people that drank petrol and diesel, man. Yes, like. I've known of people that have done that. I actually can't believe people that drink spirits throw it through bread. When I was a little lighty in Paul, the things I saw as a young kid was just incredible. And it's very much shaped how I think about humanity. I know what humanity is capable of. I know how low a human can sink because I've seen it with my own eyes. So training is vital. T. Christie mentions training is imperative. And that is what OM will do. When OM ceases to be a political party, when the system is changed or ceases to be registered with the IEC, the movement will continue and that will be training. People living a certain lifestyle where you are prepared for anything and everything. And where you don't depend on your local councillor to know what is happening in your local sloot or your local sewage drains, you as a citizen will care about it and know the condition. You're going to know the condition of your transformer that feeds your neighborhood electricity. You're going to be concerned about that. You're going to know where the transformer is and know what it looks like. And when you're a citizen like that, instead of a subject, you have so much power as an individual. And the most power you can exercise is at the ballot box, because the moment you do that and you select this individual that will represent you, not govern you. So the names in government is going to change in future. We'll call it something else for sure. It cannot be called what it's called now. But you'll be able to then select that person to represent you, and you'll be able to remove that person that represents you if you don't feel represented by them. Currently, that is not possible, and that is why the direct election system is crucial. And hopefully we'll be able to get more people to become part of the direct election concept. It's a concept that the Organic Humanity Movement came up with in late 2017. And it doesn't include just electing your MPs and your MPLs directly. It includes electing your president directly, electing every MP directly. In other words, there cannot be party power anymore. Party power must fall away. All of the other people promoting what they call direct elections out there keep party politics. I mean, they are subverting you. Don't fall for their claptrap. It's nonsense. All about pro-choice as long as one doesn't inflict harm on others. Absolutely, Ilka. And this is where common law comes into place, and how the legal system works has to change. I believe we need judges in every society, people that can arbitrate things, and things can work so differently. It doesn't have to be this person sitting there with all their British twak on and freaking wigs and whatnot, and having this authority and power over you. It is about citizens allowing a person they trust to resolve a conflict. And it's a very different concept. It already exists amongst most African tribes. They already have councils or tribunals or elders that sit and decide on something, and the people meet and they resolve it. And we need to move towards something that's not globalist, that doesn't control, that doesn't give powers to attorneys and lawyers and advocates and whatnot, that separate from the people. Because at the moment, I can tell you that banks, Vodacom, MTN, all of these cell phone companies, people that are that supply internet, they are ripping people off left, right, and center, and people can't go to court for each one of those things. When I got this contract, well, it's not a contract, it's month to month with Web Africa, they said that I'll pay at the end of the next month. I had this service for a week. They charged me a full amount. Then that was just before the end of the month. At the end of the month, they charged me another full amount. I used the service for 2 weeks, and they had charged me over 2,600 Rand already. And when I contacted them, they said, sorry, we haven't informed the people yet. We've moved the date. Twak, are they saying this to everybody? It's theft. And there's nothing you can do about it. To go to court is going to cost you a lot more in time and effort. So we are being exploited like you cannot believe. And most people don't have the know-how or the wherewith to actually challenge this anyway. It's horrible. No, I will never be president. Forget that. Listen, the person that will be our president in a direct election system, I would love to meet that person because they're going to be special. Can you imagine a person that's representing 1 million plus empowered citizens? That has to be a very special person, and it's certainly not me. I'm not that special. I know a lot of things. I've experienced a lot of things, and that's where it ends. I don't have leadership qualities. I can manage things, I can supervise things, I can advise on things. That is what I'm good at. I'm very good at teaching, but that's where it ends. I am not a leader. There's a big difference. I can spearhead something. It's very different to leadership. A leader needs to be able And that's not my role right now. A leader needs to be able to sit back, listen to people, look at the big picture continuously, and then just be there for people. Just be there for people. A very good leader will find people like myself and many others that can get things done. And that is what we need. One of the biggest flaws in Donald Trump's administration, and I have to use him as an example because he is someone like me as a president of a country. It's the worst thing you can do because you divide the people completely. And that is why I can never be a good leader or president. I have to be honest with you because I have a very clear agenda. I want us to have a new political system where we directly elect our leaders. That is so flippin' important. And if we've done all the work on the ground to enable that, to make us worthy of that, I can rest. Then I will feel better because then I know that my kids will have a future. And that's what's important to me. This is about my children. Well, we will see what happens in future. I will certainly encourage Lauren in future to consider running for president when the system is there. um, I will encourage her to do that. I don't know if she will. There's she's looking for people all the time that can be approached to actually do that. And there's some unbelievable people that we've met around the country. I've probably met now 2 or 3 people that would be incredible presidents in this new society. And one of them will be interviewed on the SABC tomorrow. She's an own candidate. She's in this live stream, and I would love to see her as president. I would vote for her. Jonathan, if you're still listening, I will nominate you to become president in this new system of South Africa. I was so humbled to actually be in the presence of wisdom like that and someone that just understands. Yes, there's Jonathan. Leaders do the right thing for all of humanity, for the preservation of the species and all of life. That is a president speaking. What? Jonathan, I really look up to you. You're a very special soul, and I will support you to be president in the future South Africa under a direct election system. And I hope you will consider a mantle such as that in future. Um, and we need many people like that out there. People that really understand, are deep thinkers. You don't need rah, rah, rah as a president of a country at all. The person that needs to be the president of a country needs to be the moral compass for that country, needs to be soft spoken, needs to be resolute, firm, and be based on values and principles. Yes, Jonathan, I know you love all people. That is why you'll be perfect for such a position. I definitely want Jonathan, myself, would vote for Jonathan if I was in a constituency to be an MP in Parliament in 2024. Remember, we still won't be in a full direct election system then. It's going to be interesting to see what it looks like, because we will be able to directly elect our MPs in 2024 because of the Concord ruling, but we still won't be able to elect our president directly. Yeah, the people that have met Jonathan will understand what I mean. And hopefully there will be a lot more people like her that will rise up, that will just be there in the background, that will just want to represent the people of the country, not govern or rule over them. It is such a different concept. And that is why I can never be a leader in this country, because there's people far more prepared and worthy for that. My job is to create a system wherein they will be willing to serve. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, T. Christie, within the organic humanity movement, the type of person you find there is just incredible. You know, in the live stream last night, there's so many new people coming in. They just feel that love, and it's infectious. You know, you cannot stop it. It's not something that you can subvert or stop, because it's about people. Truth, frequency, Ruth, absolutely. Mohigan says, I would admire a bank who shares all profits with their clients instead of giving the CEO and over 30 million in bonuses. How about a bank, Mohigan, that just serves to bank things? Have people forgotten what a bank is? It actually serves a purpose. I remember my grandfather going to Volkskas Bank and handing them cash that they were supposed to safekeep for him. And then he had this little saving book that he would write in the amounts that he saved. He never had a pension where he worked. He was a foreman on a farm. Every month he put away a certain amount of money without fail. When he got his pay, he went straight to the bank and deposited a certain amount, which became his pension one day. And he did that religiously every single month. And he always took me with when I was there with him to show me what a bank should be. And he explained to me that a bank is there to safekeep your funds. You are banking it. They're not supposed to rip you off. That is not what they're supposed to be. You know, I wanted to become a teacher at one stage. I was offered a scholarship to become a language teacher. I was a top English Afrikaans student at my school. I won the Mascu Miller Trophy for best bilingual student many years in a row. The way I normally speak on this channel is very flat Afrikaans English accent. I can speak in a very sophisticated way if I want to. However, I feel that will disconnect me from the people. So I just want to be myself, and that is what you get on this channel. Yes, CAPITEC Bank has a very interesting history with the Rupert's involvement. So, people, this live stream is about the 10-question challenge. Let's get back to that. Is there any other movement, organization that you would want me to look at that we can actually tackle right now? Like I said, people have asked that I look at Action SA, but I think it'll be best if I cover Herman Mashaba directly, if I speak to him, or a representative of Action SA, and let them do the 10-question challenge. You know, all the information I've seen and the things I've seen Herman say, it's difficult for me to understand his stance on those things because he hasn't been very outspoken on that. Okay. Yeah, we've done good already. What did good score? I can't even remember now. It was a 4 out of 10, Ruth. Yeah, so Good Party scored a 4 out of 10. The same as the DA, you know, they're not different at all, actually. It's quite sad to see Brett Heron and Auntie Pat in boxing gloves all over Cape Town. I think they can do a lot better. Brett is intelligent. He's a humanitarian. He will certainly help poor people. However, he will help it off the back of other people, and that's a problem. He's doing it in the current system. What you need to do is get people to become self-reliant. And if they start moving in that direction, they will get a lot more support. Jonathan, I'm simply just heart, spirit, and soul, like all of us, in modesty and humility. I was raised by a very young mother, a granny, and my precious great-grandmother. My Oma cultivated me in humility. Well, it shows, Jonathan. Yeah, you've also rubbed shoulders with interesting people. It's important for someone that is the conscience of a country. This is not a complicated thing. You don't have to be fancy at all. You just need to be the conscience. I almost think of Nelson Mandela after he decided not to follow these New World Order puppets anymore, and this is why they got rid of him after his first term. Just going everywhere and just being with people. And actually, when he spoke to them, not reading off a script, but something that he wrote himself or wants to say himself. And that's why there's so many Nelson Mandela quotes. You can't quote Cyril because he didn't write any of the things that he speaks. He's a puppet. It shows it's weak, and it's really sad. Nelson Mandela moved around the world once he kicked the New World Order plans to touch. It's a decision he made. He could have continued and he could have been very wealthy. He was bought mansions by the Ruperts and the Oppenheimers each. He refused to live in those homes. He bought a home out of his president's salary. So he made choices, good choices, that I believe bought us time. It bought us time. So I'm thankful to him for making that change, for keeping his security detail, not firing all of those boers that stood there that said that they will lay down their lives for him the day he became president. He didn't expect that. It changed him. And since that day, he became a president for the people of South Africa. And I think a lot of people are confused by that. And some people call him a sellout. He was definitely a sellout initially when he was part of the initial negotiations. Yet he changed his mind later, and I salute him for that. The fact that he did that, and hopefully Cyril will do the same. The DA is not an opposition, they're a fake opposition. So controlled opposition is probably a good way of putting it. Auntie Pat will go wherever she needs to. Well, Jacques, the problem is, Jacques says the three top parties are all controlled. It's just a show. The problem is when any of the others, if the leadership in any of those parties decide to actually start doing what's good for the people or for freedom, they'll just put another party in there. They'll fund another party and put them in their place. And at the moment, I think these people that have been controlling those parties, they're sitting with a difficult position. I don't think they realize that so many parties and movements would jump up in the political realm wanting to change things, that there's such a desire to fix South Africa. This is not the case in any other country in the world. Think about it. That the desire to fix things in South Africa is so great that we're sitting with over 600 parties. This is not a bad thing, people. This is a good thing. It shows people's willingness to stand up and try and change something. Put a plan forward, even if it's a crappy plan, then it'll be tested and thrown out if it doesn't work. But at least people are trying, and that's important. So all the people that are trying, including Neil de Beer, I applaud them for trying, even if they're doing completely the opposite of what I want to do. At least they are putting something out there clearly. And, Neil de Beer is like Donald Trump. He just says it as it is. And he might have many hidden agendas, or he might not. I don't actually know. But he's very outspoken. The Meneer Bernardo. Yeah. Cyril, do you know how many people I know down but not out yet? How many people I know that have never voted? Many people that have joined OM have never in their lives voted. Now they're voting for the first time because they're voting for something to change the system completely. Remove parties. Who of you saw the article that I placed in the community tab, where the headline on OM read "The Party to End All Parties"? It was a stunning headline. And the person that did the report really went and studied the organic humanity movement. It's obviously starting to have an impact. If I think about Refilway, in the interview that she did with Lauren early in the morning, it's a second interview she's doing with the organic humanity movement, first with one of the candidates and next with Lauren. It struck an accord with her because what OMI is doing is clearly needed. This is not rocket science. I mean, we have to change things and we need to get more movements and organizations to work in that direction. That's why I always say the best plan will always win in the end. It's that simple. And that's why you cannot not have plans. You can't, like in America, sit with the Democrats and the Republicans. Come on, man. That's deliberately done to control a country. Buffering, shucks. Okay, this side, it seems fine. I don't know why I was buffering. It's all good. Okay. So, people, if there's no one else that we need to cover, then I suppose you can ask me some questions and then we can end off. I'm disappointed that these on the ANC poster. Okay, there's the ancient ones call you a sage. The modernists feel and experience you deeply, your mind, heart, body, and spirit, a profound teacher, educationist, and an educationalist. Remarkable. I think, Jonathan, throughout my life, things have happened to line me up to the point where, firstly, from my birth, I just wanted lots of knowledge about everything around me. I read a lot of books. I did a lot of research. I think an unusual amount for someone by the age of 16 to have the amount of knowledge I had by the age of 10. I could hold adult conversations with adults and probably embarrass many of them. And I believe it's because of my dad and the fact that he believed he could have deep discussions with me from the age of 4. Involve me in his work. And, as I was looking at all the documents that he has and the plans and the patents, a lot of those memories came back. And it was clear that he was teaching me from a very young age many concepts and principles that are the people in South Africa to become leaders. That is what we need. I need as many people as possible to become leaders to protect my family and my kids. That's what I need. How do you two survive with so little sleep? I know you are at 8 for my 7 hours of sleep. Well, I don't know, Ruth. I don't understand it. Lauren and I ask this question all the time. No, the UIM didn't get 0 out of 10. Neil de Beer got 0 out of 10. I don't actually know how other people in the UIM feel. I think they don't understand. For some reason, we just have the strength. I don't know why or how. I probably have my ideas. I certainly feel we are protected. We have not been sick during this entire time of anything. Only the police could hurt us physically, and they did hurt us, make no mistake. I still feel my calf. My calf was actually extended and contracted in running when it was kicked sideways. So it was badly hurt. But everything recovers quickly. Yeah. Yeah, Johan, the UIM is a new world order invention, and I mean Neil de Beer will tell you that it absolutely this new order does not exist. Even when you would have had George H. Bush tell you about it, Cyril tell you about it, Barack Obama tell you about it, everyone at the United Nations tell you about this new world order that's been created. So yeah, he fails every single question on that test. He also fails the entry criteria for the test. So he needs to change the way he thinks about things drastically before he's going to help us with freedom. He can promise us heaven and earth in the current system. The current system captures you. So it's a massive subversion. That's all it is. Whether willingly or unknowingly or unknowingly, it's still subversion. Done but not out yet says sometimes it's information overload, but I'm glad I've done my research into how the world really works. It's scary. I probably still only understand 1% of all their plans. It's a pity. Have you been to one of my double O Days meetings? Because, the plan, let me just quickly sum this up for you, okay? The Bavarian Illuminati plan that Adam Weishaupt laid out for world dominance and control and to emancipate the human race is a plan that removes all your freedom. In other words, the plan was always designed to give you a better life, but at one big cost. You won't have freedom of choice anymore. So you're going to get clothing, you're going to get food, you're going to get a place to stay, you're going to get transport, you're going to get everything. You're going to own none of that. And you're going to be healthy because you're going to be in a sterile environment, but you will be monitored, tracked, and traced permanently. So what is happening is a new freedom is created. That's why they keep on speaking about the new normal. So you will gauge freedom in future, not as the freedom to move, the freedom to think, the freedom to practice a religion or to have a family. You will consider freedom as being obedient to the one world government. In other words, what they say goes, and as long as you're in line with that, you are free. And that's how people will perceive freedom. Our future children won't understand what freedom is at all because they are captured right now in school. They're wearing masks in school. They are being told what to do. Teachers are teaching your kids things against what you are teaching them, and they believe they have a right to do that. It's really bad news. I actually have 2 articles that I'll be covering still on how they are forcing comprehensive sexual the parent. It takes the freedom of the parent to parent their child away. Now, if there are bad parents, deal with the parents. Don't go and deal with the child. The government should not have that right. But currently, with our current constitution, the government does have that right. And this is why we need constitutional change. Down but not out yet, absolutely. So if we comply, we will be lucky to live as one of the robots serving the elite, one of the 500 million left alive. Absolutely. You summed that up nicely. Yes, let us keep our country the place of good hope. Now, let's get to hope. Hope is a very important concept, and you need to have faith before you can have hope, before you can act. So, faith comes first. If you don't believe that we can save South Africa and make it a free place, then you've lost the fight completely. Many of the plan Bs out there are people that have given up. In other words, they don't have faith in the fact that South African work can work as an homogenous group of people. Now, the Bavarian Illuminati plan does that. It does that to you. It takes away your faith by doing many things deliberately because it understands human psychology. So once you fall for that trap, you have had a human psychological failure, because if you made the effort to go and speak to people on the ground around the country like I have in the Double O Days tour, you will see that what the mainstream media is putting out there is a rubbish. It's absolute rubbish. If you speak to people, even in KwaZulu-Natal, where those shopping malls were burned to the ground, go and speak to the people in the communities and they will tell you what actually happened. Then you will hear the true news. If you want to find out what happened in Sea Point, speak to myself or my wife or the people that made the public statements. I hope you went and watched that video on the public statements. Because what did the mainstream media say? That 2 anti-vaxxers were arrested. Not where we were. They didn't even speak about the police brutally attacking women and even a child, when there was zero provocation. They physically went to the people and started beating them. That's the reality. That is what happened. But the mainstream media did not portray that. So how many other things are happening in the country that the mainstream media is not showing you? So you have to make the effort to actually find out what's going on so that you don't believe in this divisionist nonsense. I made that effort. Everyone else can make that effort. Ruth is asking, okay, Mohegan first. Every day our kids send forms of COVID symptoms, but yesterday more than 800 people cramped into one hall. You know, I put out the pictures of John Steenhuisen standing without a mask amongst a group of DA supporters without masks on as well. There were like one or two that I could see that had masks on. Nothing happened to them. And then John Steenhuisen walking with people, not social distancing, in fact, putting his arm over someone with a mask on while there were loads of people around him without masks on. And there were no riot police there to do anything. So, yeah, um, different standards for different people. So Ruth says, please clarify how you handle control of permission for your YouTube videos. Someone doesn't seem to understand. I explained copyright, but I don't have a YouTube channel, so not sure how it works. Okay, so what YouTube does is everything you produce on YouTube is copyright protected under international law. In other words, if you use any of my video, a portion of my video, to create another video, you're not allowed to do that. It's illegal. You're not allowed to put that on another YouTube video, and YouTube will remove it. I can go and make a legal case against you if you do that. I have given people permission to take my entire video and use it somewhere else. But you cannot use a snippet. So people that want to attack what we're doing will take something out of context. They'll take a snippet and then they will use it and they'll try and discriminate against you or whatever. And it's fine. People can do that, but there's repercussions because you violated international law and you are a criminal because of it. So I will never take someone else's footage and use it in a video unless they give me permission to do that. And the people that create these videos, I go and then I report that snippet that they've used, and YouTube then always removes those videos. And they've done so without fail because they will find a copyright infringement. So any video that I have, like this one I'm making now, if you use a portion, even 1 second of the video, and you put it in another video, they'll remove that entire other video. All of it. Or they'll ask a person to cut that portion out. You're not allowed to do that. So the people that do that don't ask my permission, I report that copyright infringement, and YouTube every single time will remove the video. There's one person that has done it to attack myself and Lauren, and I have allowed them up until now to leave that there because I believe they'll embarrass themselves by doing that, and it serves no purpose because the person can contact me directly. This specific person made an Islamophobic comment in one of my videos, and I removed that comment. It was the one where I interviewed Lauren. And so he on his channel went and made a video to expose me as well as the OM leader because I would not allow him to put that Islamophobic comment there because it's against YouTube standards and many other things. And I don't tolerate things like that. So I'm not going to apologize for that. Any other person that does something like that, I'm just going to block them from being able to comment. I have since unblocked this person, and hopefully he will see the light. Because at the end of the day, we cannot have anything that divides people. And I don't believe any examples that involves religion or race or anything should be used. Ideologies, yes. Ideas, yes. But don't separate people in the way the Bavarian Illuminati has been doing it for centuries. It's horrible, really. So hopefully this person will learn. Hi, Dave Jono, there you are. No, it doesn't. No, Dave Jono, you're wrong. I will have that video removed if you think it doesn't fall under fair use. You are wrong. That video will be removed. There he is commenting right now because I've unblocked him so that he can understand and so that he can make comments because he needs to understand that he's wrong. And no, you cannot use my video clip and just put it in yours. So he says, lol, it falls under the fair use law. You're lying to make yourself to look good. Shame. You try and help people, and then that is what happens. So I will go and report that video now, and I will have it removed, have YouTube remove it. So he will not be able to comment again because, if someone wants to promote something, go and promote it on your own platform. Create your own platform and gather support for it. I am gathering support for system change. My agenda is clear. I have an absolute agenda to change the system. I don't have a hidden agenda. My agenda I make known to everyone, and people can scrutinize and they don't have to agree. But I'm not going to allow people to come on my platform and our platform and in this community and disrupt it. I won't do that. So I will deal very, very strongly with things like that. Yeah, I read from articles. I've never used someone else's video ever. You will find no one else's video being used on this channel unless it's direct footage that people took and they gave me permission to use it. So that is how important it is that we get things like that right. And one has to be very careful with copyright law. Fair use, that is what other people claim that they can use on their channels, and their videos are still taken down and they get a strike each and every time. So Dave Jono is soon going to get a strike against his name again. It's as simple as that. Yes, it's Jonathan Swanepoel. I know. I don't know who it actually is. It really doesn't matter to me. It could be many people. At the end of the day, all they are actually obsessed with what you do. You get people that get that sick obsession. They cannot leave you alone. They are there all the time. They're obsessed with you. I don't sit, if I don't agree with what someone else is doing, I don't sit and obsess over them. I forget about them. I don't even know who they are. I leave them alone. But people that obsess over other people can become dangerous. So you do need to keep a tab on that. And that is why we follow certain protocol as a family. There's reasons for that. There's Omis, thank you for a humbling and amazing fleeting moment in our lives. Off to Marina and Omis at the park, Bri. Love your amazing spirits. Jonathan, enjoy it. I hope all of you enjoy that get together at Marina's place. We will be there fairly soon. Yeah, we need you focus on what we do want, not on what we don't want. I like that, Chili. That's so important. And to get distracted is pointless. We are so focused on what we have to do that we cannot go into these side charades. It's really not. It doesn't help anybody. And at the end of the day, you use the laws and the international regulations to your benefit. Those that do benefit you, there's many that don't. And a lot of people will say, why do we use a platform such as YouTube, Facebook, or whatever? It's because that's where people are. We need to fight this fight on their turf. How else are we going to win this? However, we also meet face to face all the time. Jonathan is going to a face to face meeting now where people are enjoying time together in freedom. And that is important to understand. This is happening countrywide. There are people gathering all the time, meeting with each other. And the whole Freedom SA concept is such a simple one. You just go to the hashtag Freedom SA Facebook group. You put your place where you live there, and then you find other like-minded people in your area. And you might be from different cultures, religious backgrounds, ethnicities. It doesn't matter. All of you agree on one thing: you want to be free, and you actually understand what freedom means. Freedom comes with responsibility, and that is important to understand. I don't think a lot of people understand that. I really want to thank you all for joining. If there's no other movement we need to go through, keep up the good information. Don't stop at anything. The world has been deceived. Media can't be trusted with the truth. And Tutuko, at the end of the day, we need to just be able to connect with each other again, meet with each other often, speak with each other, and the lies and deceit that's out there in the world, and the lies and deceit that divide us is so dangerous, And I look at news media like News 24, and I see these divisive articles that they put out. It's put out for a reason. That script is written for a reason, to divide people. When you actually go into informal settlements or into rural areas, into middle class neighborhoods, or to wealthier suburbs, most of those people want the same thing. And at the end of the day, if we remove the Rothschild controlled financial system, you will see everyone moving towards the middle and coming closer together. And all people will be able to benefit off the land if we work together and we become leaders in our own right first, then in our families, then in our communities, before we even enter any formal sphere of government. So, what song do you have in your head, Shelley? But thanks a lot for joining me this time of day. Please explain to the subscribers watching again how to join the community. Wow, I'm very bad at that. So underneath each video, you can click join if you want to become a Double O Days channel community member. And if you want to become part of the OHM community, Organic Humanity Movement, you can go to www.organichumanitymovement.org. And then you can become part of a community of people across the country. And oh, Queen, I want to break free. And then you can join a community of people. So the Organic Humanity Movement doesn't fight against other parties or political organizations. The OHM is there with one mandate only, that's to change the political system to one where we can directly elect our leaders. So OHM doesn't have policies. OHM does everything based on values and principles. The values are love, knowledge, justice, and action. It starts with love. And then the principles are liberty first, then protection of life, then care for the earth, then self-reliance, then continuous progress, and then national unity, in that order. And what that does is it gives you a framework within which people from all backgrounds, religions, cultures can work together for freedom. And that is why it's only so different to everything else out there, and why doesn't fight with other political parties, doesn't take part in party politics at all, because it's pointless. Is changing the system so that party politics ceases to exist. And that newspaper article in the community tab describes it beautifully. The party to end all party politics. I can't describe it better than that. So yes, we are not fighting against any other movement or organization. We want to work with anyone that want to give us freedom. And at the moment, we're under attack by globalist enemies that control the top three parties in the country. And if there's any other parties or movements in parliament right now, align yourselves with what we are doing, or you will become irrelevant. If you don't align yourselves with what we are doing, you'll become irrelevant quickly, because you cannot be stronger than the people on the ground. And at the moment, we are exposing anyone and everyone that is batting for the globalist team, the greater good ideological team. We are exposing them, and they will become more and more irrelevant. And hopefully now in the local government elections, we're not going to see clean sweeps now. What we are going to see is a shift, a massive shift. And I think, we will make history during these elections. You're going to see the Freedom Front Plus, the ACDP, the Organic Humanity Movement, even Action SA, even the UIM, that might have stunning councillors out there, representatives. I don't know what One SA is doing, but you're going to see a shift towards that kind of mindset. And we need that desperately. We need that move away from normal party politics, because most of those people are moving away from party politics. I know Herman Mashaba is. I know Neil de Beer is. I know Musi Memani is talking away from party politics. The method is completely wrong. However, that mindset change is so entrenched and mainstream right now that you cannot stop it anymore. So the hashtag direct elections campaign has worked. It was successful. There were many people trying to stop it. Divisiveness tracks, it didn't work. And so now all we need to do is to work on the ground. Okay. Monique says people do not seem to understand that this ideology does not have to be accepted. Absolutely. We don't have to at all. Mohigan says, I've noticed many adults without kids took jab with no doubts that I've come across. Yep. Ruth says this stops when we say no. Anastasia says, I always thought about the Bavarian Illuminati, but try to suppress that knowledge of the existence and what their agenda is. So thank you for that enlightenment and reignite the truth. You know, the Bavarian Illuminati was banned in the 1780s, but that ideology lived on. They had about 2,000 signed up members at the time. And the moment they scattered when they put a death penalty on anyone that would practice in the secret society in Bavaria, they fled all over the world. Many of them went and entered Masonic lodges. And this is why I'm careful not to attack the Masonic fraternity. You actually have to look at each and every individual lodge and Mason and what they believe. And I've been contacted by Masons that fighting the fight with us, or say that they're fighting the fight with us, that believe in individual liberty. And the Masonic Rite should believe in that. And many Masons have asked me, why am I not a Mason? It's because I don't need to be one. I don't believe in secretive societies at all. And I won't encourage anyone to be a part of that. I believe that we need to be as out in the open as we can be and as we can be. Because they said, if I have to go and tell everyone now, tomorrow a massive meteorite is going to hit the earth, we're all going to die. If it was really going to happen, what difference would it make? Yeah, that's actually something to think about. Ilka says, right now, just saw a few ANC walking down the road in southern suburb neighborhoods, a blaring speaker, mic screaming, stop corruption, forest, time for everything. Ilka, just remember, the African National Congress has a lot of stunning people in their midst. Just understand that most people have been deceived. I have met so many awesome people in the economic freedom fighters. There's many of them. Many people have been deceived because those organizations are trapped in a failed system. So we need to create a new system. I have not spoken to a single person. I'm not talking about people that are extremely racist or anything like that, that I've explained the own plan to, that haven't agreed to it. Not one. Not one. So the plan is rock solid. We must just implement the plan, get as many organizations on board as possible, and that is important. If people don't want to get on board with that plan, it means that they are playing party politics. They are not going to be a part of the solution. They just want bums on seats. It means they want power. The moment we expose that, I will nail them to the wall. I will expose them far and wide. Anyone that will take our freedom away through any of those 10 questions needs to be exposed. It's important that the public know, because they're not telling you this. We need to do it ourselves. Billy is here. Question, John Foster, good or bad? That's an interesting one. He was a broederbonder as well as a Mason. Many of the people back then were. I'm undecided on him. I know that he had many influences and changes in his life. I'm more comfortable speaking about what people call the advent of apartheid, 1948, and P.W. Botha, de Klerk. I've not done enough research on Foster to give you exact thoughts. But Verwoerd was thrown under the bus. He wanted to go against the Rothschild system. He was killed for it. And, the moment you mess with the Rothschilds running this country, you're going to die. So a lot of people in the political system right now, you have to ask yourself, why are they still there? That's the first thing you have to ask yourself. And that is why OMI is changing the entire system. Yeah, Foster. I'm not sure that he was relevant enough. I would see him as a transitionary person. I see him the same as Mbeki. Didn't really do anything big. He just allowed things to happen. He could have done a lot more to expose things if he wanted to, but didn't. So I always say, what about the things a person could have done? If you look at Cyril Ramaphosa, with everything he knows, there's a lot he could say. There's a lot he could do, but he'll probably end up being assassinated. So, yeah, you have to take risks if you want freedom. You know, when I saw the police Saturday 2 weeks ago lining up there with a riot squad, when the riot squad arrived, I knew there was trouble. So there's a lot of footage I couldn't take. But I went over there and I confronted them. So did the other lady. She also confronted them. The lady that got hit on her eye, she actually came and spoke to them. And you would see that in the footage that I put out. And I had to confront them because the one thing that happened is only half of them took part in the beatings. The other half stood down. This is one thing that people forget. They might have walked forward, but they did nothing to the people. So what I said to them resonated. And also, when they started chasing me, I ran away from the crowd. And unfortunately, some people ran towards me, mostly women, and the dad with his son ran towards me to try and help me. Fortunately, I didn't need help. I managed to to look after myself, and then they were attacked, and anyone that helped them were attacked too. But it takes a risk. I mean, when I stood there, I was filming them. I knew it was risky, but I knew they were going to attack the crowd. They had made up their mind. I didn't film that part earlier, but they were talking in between. So I could hear clearly that they are going to make examples of the people and people were going to get beaten. That's why I said what I said. That's why I said that you should resign. You should be ashamed of yourselves. And they prepared for an onslaught. They took off their big name badges to make sure that people wouldn't know who they are. And a decision was made that they were going to beat people. On my footage, there's a guy without a mask walking right past the police line. They did nothing to that person. They were there to attack the people in that peace march. That's who they wanted to attack. And I wasn't even part of the march. Neither was my wife. Neither was Debbie. We were at the end there. You would have seen my initial video footage. We were standing there when Debbie arrived. She couldn't walk. Her back was already sore. And after the attack, it obviously became a lot worse. She actually broke two of her vertebrae. So, yeah, it takes risks. Now, Debbie has taken many risks in her life, a lot more than myself, with regards to being in a public space with regards to the police. But I've taken many other risks in my life to keep the country safe. Very, very great risks. And that's what it's going to take for us to be free. It's not going to come at no cost. But people, if there's no one else that I need to cover, then I think we can end now. I need to go spend some time with the kiddos. I really want to thank you all for coming on here. Yeah, Tando, do you think apartheid and pass laws were some kind of test run for COVID-19? Tando, absolutely. It's not just that it was a test run. There were many test runs. Like I've said before, the actual formation of the African National Congress, if you actually see how that happened, who was behind it, who funded it, who grew the organization, who grew the whole concept of Boer or Afrikanerdom. It was all the same people organized in the same way that achieved all of that. And the Rothschilds were behind all of it. All of it. The whole 1994 transition was fake. And this is what shook my father. I know he was shocked when he found out that Pik Botha, Dennis Warrell, and Chris Jennis discussed the transition that would happen in 1994 in the late 70s. They were talking about the ANC being chosen as the organization that will take power later. All planned and organized meticulously. So behind the scenes, there were so many things happening. And what these people discuss in the meetings is, how do we sell this to the public? All the time. How do we sell this to the public? Because in the end, they need to fool us for us to do what they want in the end, so that they can create a one world government. Remember, they needed to create a government that wasn't strong. The apartheid government ended up becoming so strong that they became a problem. They had to dismantle it rapidly dismantle it. And that's what happened. In isolation, they became nuclear capable. So think about that. Yeah, so thank you all for joining in. if there's no other movement, that's going to be the end, except Jeremy Acton. I will contact him if he can't do the live stream with me, or a Zoom recording with me of the 10 questions, then I will just read out his response to me. He's already done that, so I can read it out to you. But I wanted to do that separately because he made the effort of contacting me. And if there's anyone else that you want me to do something on, then please do so. But now we've covered, I think, 4 or 5 other movements or organizations. Okay. Thank you very much for this live stream. I really enjoyed it, enjoyed being with you. And yes, you can see now why so many people are going for the options that I put in the poll. It's because those are the people that will make you the most free at this stage. Many questions having to be asked of the people currently in Parliament. If they want to stay in the system, you need to look at them with big question marks and red flags. Okay. If they don't want to change the system, they will become a part of the global enemy, and we must be very careful. For someone to be in Parliament, not wanting to change the system, saying all the right things, but not acting in the right way to get us free. Remember, I said the path to freedom is more important than the belief in freedom. So this freedom test doesn't test the path to freedom at all. Okay. It tests the belief in freedom. So the path to freedom, if you sit in Parliament, and if you look at the ACDP and the Freedom Front Plus, if they sit in Parliament and they don't make actual changes and call for system change, if they don't do that, then they're not interested in the path to freedom. They're just speaking freedom. And that is subversive if that is the case. But they have a chance now to do that. And we'll see towards the end of this year what they do. And hopefully they will become a part of the movement to change the system and get us to a point where we can directly elect our leaders. If they don't, I will expose them. Any movement that is stopping that from happening. And if they believe that they need to remain in the current party system, they need to prove to us how this captured system, this captured constitution, how that is going to help us get more freedom, and how that has worked for them in the many years they have been there in Parliament. Many years. Omi is coming in now and plans to have a completely changed country by 2029. Aims to take power by 2024 to 2026 to change the system to a direct election system. That's not a 10 or 15-year plan. That is quick. That's what it takes. If your plan is bad, you're going to just sit there forever and achieve nothing. You're just going to be bums on seats. It's pointless. Okay. Thank you so much for watching this live stream. Please share it with as many people as you can. And yes, have a great Saturday further. I'm going to put out a couple more videos, and then I need to complete my first video for Ground Zero. That's where everything begins. And the motto for that channel is creating a critical mass of critical thinkers. And the things that I will cover on there, I think is going to blow your mind. And please, those of you that want some entertainment, go and join the channel that my boys started called Everyday Random. Those videos might just give you a laugh. I'll give you a link to that, and then you can go and subscribe if you want. But just to give you a laugh, but you are going to see how simple innocence of a child, how that ties in to what I will be doing with Ground Zero. And you're going to be quite surprised to see how easy it is to be able to teach people how to change the way they think, so that we do have critical thinkers. We absolutely need critical thinkers. There you can go, Everyday Random. There's a link. You can go and subscribe to that. Go and watch the videos, see what they get up to. They've got 147 subscribers at this stage, and they really love making these videos and interacting with the people that watch them. But I'll give you an example of something, for instance, that I will do on Ground Zero. Ground Zero can literally be what you put into your zinc in the kitchen. And where that goes once you pull that plug, and where you end up putting it. And ground zero has so many meanings for so many different things. I've given you one simple example. Ground zero can be a thought on nursery rhymes in school and listening to the words that we have been teaching our kids and understanding what they actually mean. I think people are going to have their minds blown to smithereens when they realize how you have taught your child New World Order ideology and the Bavarian Illuminati doctrine since they were very small without you realizing it. In everything we do in society, it is everywhere, literally. And the one thing I made certain of in my kids' lives is that they have zero Bavarian Illuminati doctrine in their lives as long as I'm around them. And hopefully people can start that critical thinking process. It's going to be interesting. It'll be a slight exposure to my mind, I suppose. And you might feel sorry for me because living life amongst humanity right now is very complicated for me. And I've been highly trained and skilled to be able to cope with the society we find ourselves in right now. Thank you very much for watching. You can look forward to the other videos, and it's been great spending time with you on for more than 2 hours on a busy Saturday. Nursery rhymes, fairy tales, music, films, books, it's everywhere. And I will show you ground zero for many things. And I hope you enjoy it. Bye, everyone.